Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're digging into a book that's, well, it's more than just a book, isn't it? Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist.
Oh, absolutely. It's a genuine phenomenon.
Right. You've probably heard of it, maybe read it multiple times. It's touched so many people globally. Translated into what, over 80 languages?
That's right, making it one of the most translated books by any living author. It's staggering.
And the time it spent on the New York Times bestseller list. Over 300 weeks. That's almost 6 years. It just resonates.
It really does. Critics have called it things like a sweetly exotic tale for young and old alike, even a bedrock of wisdom. Some even compare it to Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince.
High praise indeed.
And it's not just critics. You've got figures like Madonna, Tony Robbins, Spencer Johnson, all saying amazing things about it. An adventure story full of magic and wisdom, an inspirational wonder. It clearly taps into something universal.
But yeah, the story behind the story is almost as fascinating. Its initial release in Brazil,
Yeah.
it basically flopped.
It's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, totally. I heard this story, maybe apocryphal, maybe not, that only one person bought it in the first week. And then it took 6 months for the same person to buy a second copy.
Wow.
It makes you wonder, how does a book go from that, from nearly disappearing, to becoming this massive global success?
Well, and this is where it gets really interesting. That initial struggle perfectly mirrors the book's core message. Coelho himself, he said he felt desperate when his first publisher actually canceled his contract.
No way.
Yeah. But he said he never lost faith in the book because, and this is a direct quote, "It was me in there. All of me, heart and soul." He was essentially living his own personal legend.
So his treasure was his ability to write, to tell that story no matter what.
Exactly. His persistence, his belief in his own purpose, it's all right there.
That's incredible. So the author's journey is woven into the fabric of the book itself. Okay, so that's what we're diving into today, the core ideas, Santiago's journey and those early parts of The Alchemist. How does this shepherd boy's quest actually unfold, and what can we, take away for our own lives?
And even before Santiago, there's that brief, kind of cryptic prologue, the story of Narcissus and the lake.
Right, where the lake isn't weeping for Narcissus's beauty.
Exactly. It's weeping because it saw its own beauty reflected in Narcissus's eyes. It's this subtle, early hint about perspective, about where we find value and reflection. A little aha moment right at the start.
That's a brilliant setup. Okay, let's unpack this. It's fascinating how you see that immediate link between Coelho's own fight for the book and the story's essence. You really do see this theme running all through Santiago's journey. So, okay, we first meet Santiago. He's a shepherd in Andalusia, Spain, and he loves to travel. That's his big thing.
Yeah, he actually left a seminary when he was 16. His parents wanted him to be a priest, a stable life.
But he just had this urge. He wanted to know the world. And what strikes me is his father's reaction.
Right, it's quite touching. Instead of forbidding it, he gives Santiago 3 ancient Spanish gold coins to buy his flock of sheep.
And Santiago sees it in his father's eyes, right?
Yeah.
That same maybe unfulfilled desire to travel makes you think.
It really does. So Santiago starts this simple life with his sheep. But it's not just about watching them graze. He feels this mysterious energy connecting him to them.
He talks to them, reads to them.
Exactly. It's this early sign of him understanding a language without words, a connection beyond just speech. He's observing, he's feeling things.
And then comes the dream, this recurring dream.
Yes. A child appears, plays with his sheep, and then boom, transports him to the Egyptian pyramid.
And tells him, if you come here, you will find a hidden treasure. Then he wakes up. Every time.
This happens enough that he thinks, okay, I need to figure this out. So he goes to a dream interpreter in Tarifa, a nearby town.
He seeks out this gypsy woman.
Right. And she listens and basically says, yep, the dream means what it says. There's treasure at the pyramids for you.
But there's a catch.
Always a catch. She wants 1/10 of the treasure when he finds it.
And Santiago's reaction is pretty relatable, I think. It sounds like it was a waste of time. He gets skeptical.
Totally. He decides right then, I'll never again believe in dreams. He's ready to just dismiss the whole thing.
But just as he makes that decision, sitting there in the plaza, feeling a bit foolish.
The universe, or maybe something else, steps in.
Exactly. He meets this strange old man.
Melchizedek.
Yes. Who just strolls up, introduces himself as the King of Salem, which is, a bit unusual.
Just a bit. And he starts talking to Santiago, asking for wine, even though Santiago clearly doesn't want to chat.
And then it gets weird. Melchizedek knows things.
Uncanny things like Santiago's parents' names, the fact he went to seminary, even the name of the merchant's daughter Santiago has a crush on, a name Santiago himself didn't know.
It completely throws Santiago off balance. How could this stranger know all this?
And that's when Melchizedek drops the big truth bombs. First, what he calls the world's greatest lie.
Which is?
That at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us, and our lives become controlled by fate. He just completely refutes that idea.
Wow. Taking agency back.
Precisely. And then he introduces the core idea of the book, the personal legend.
What you have always wanted to accomplish. Your true path. Your destiny, maybe.
Something like that. He says everyone knows their personal legend when they're young, but then this mysterious force starts trying to convince us it's impossible to achieve.
Fear. Doubt. Societal pressure.
Probably all of the above, but Melchizedek gives him this incredibly empowering countermessage. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it.
That's the line everyone remembers, isn't it?
It really is. And to help Santiago, he gives him these two stones, Urim and Thummim, from his golden breastplate. They're meant for reading omens, for guidance when he gets stuck.
But again, there's a price. Not money this time.
Right. He demands 1/10 of Santiago's sheep. Not for the information, he says, but for helping Santiago make the decision to follow his dream. It's like a commitment fee, as you said earlier.
Interesting distinction. It's about taking action.
Exactly. And Melchizedek also mentions the principle of favorability. You might call it beginner's luck.
Ah, that initial boost you get.
Yeah. He says it's a force that whets your appetite with a taste of success right when you start pursuing your personal legend. It gives you a little push.
Which raises that question. Why? Why does the universe give us that early, easy win? Is it encouragement? A test?
That's a great point. Maybe it's both. Like, here's a taste of what's possible. Now let's see if you'll stick with it when it gets tough.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Builds a little faith. So Santiago, he's convinced. He actually sells his sheep.
Gets a good price for them, too, which he sees as another omen, another sign he's on the right path.
And despite being attached to them, he realizes, the sheep, the merchant's daughter he liked, even his home in Andalusia, they were all just steps.
Steps along the way to his personal legend. He commits. He's heading for Africa and the pyramids.
So he's made the leap, sold his flock, got the magic stones. The universe is supposedly conspiring.
Yeah.
You'd think, okay, smooth sailing now, right?
You'd think. But Tangier hits him hard and fast.
Yeah, he arrives in this bustling, totally unfamiliar city, and almost immediately, bam.
He trusts someone, this young man who speaks Spanish, and offers to help him get to the pyramids.
And the guy just robs him, takes every penny Santiago got from selling his sheep.
Brutal. Just leaves him stranded and penniless in a foreign land. The despair must have been overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely. He feels ashamed, totally alone. He even thinks about just giving up, becoming bitter and distrustful. It's that moment of hitting rock bottom.
It's so visceral. We've all felt betrayed or lost at some point. Maybe not that dramatically, but that feeling, it's real.
But then he's left with just his jacket, a heavy book he was carrying, and those two stones, Urim and Thummim. And they fall out of his pocket.
Little reminder.
Exactly. He remembers Melchizedek's advice. Learn to recognize omens and follow them, but also, crucially, make your own decisions. And right there, he makes one.
A defining one.
He decides he's not going to be a victim. He chooses to see himself as an adventurer looking for treasure. It's his powerful internal shift. He reclaims his narrative.
And it's right after this, he starts to really notice that language without words again. First, when he helps a candy seller set up his stall.
Right, they don't speak the same language, Spanish and Arabic, but they understand each other perfectly. Gestures, smiles, intent.
Exactly. It clicks for him. This is how he communicated with his sheep, too. It's about observation, intuition, connection beyond spoken words.
This deepens his understanding. So needing work, he finds a job with a crystal merchant.
Ah, the crystal merchant. Such an important character. Anxious guy stuck in his ways for, 30 years?
Yeah, and he's initially quite discouraging about Santiago's dream of the pyramids. He represents a different path.
A very different philosophy. The merchant has a dream to make the pilgrimage to Mecca, the Hajj, but he actively avoids fulfilling it.
Why? That seems counterintuitive.
He's afraid. He says, if my dream is realized, I'll have no reason to go on living. The dream itself, the idea of Mecca, keeps him going. Fulfilling it feels like an end.
Wow, so the dream becomes a cage, almost. That's a sobering thought. Can a dream hold you back?
It's a profound question the book poses. Can the pursuit, the potential, be more vital to someone than the actual achievement? For the merchant, it seems so.
Meanwhile, Santiago starts working for him. And he doesn't just work. He brings energy, ideas,
Totally changes the place. He suggests building an outdoor display case to attract customers.
and later selling tea in the crystal glasses, which is a brilliant idea, actually.
It really is. Sales boom. Santiago learns Arabic, saves up money enough to buy double the sheep he originally had. He finds a rhythm, even happiness, in this work.
But there's a subtle danger there too, right?
Definitely. His dream of the pyramid starts to fade. It becomes distant, kind of like Mecca is for the crystal merchant. He's getting comfortable.
The shop thrives because of Santiago's, the book calls it enthusiasm, of things accomplished with love and purpose, that universal language again, making things happen.
But yeah, success in one area can sometimes make you forget the original quest, the personal legend. It's another subtle test.
So he spends almost a year there, successful, comfortable, but eventually something stirs in him again.
The dream calls him back. He decides he has to continue the journey to the pyramids. He uses his savings not to buy sheep, but to join a caravan crossing the Sahara.
And on this caravan, he meets another key figure, the Englishman.
Right. The Englishman is also on a quest, searching for the one true language of the universe. But his approach is totally different.
How so?
He believes the answer is in alchemy, locked away in ancient texts. He's lugging around a suitcase full of books. He's looking for a famous alchemist, rumored to live at the Al-Fayoum oasis, their destination.
So academic versus experiential learning.
Exactly that contrast. The Englishman is buried in his books, trying to decipher complex formulas. Santiago, meanwhile,
He tries reading the Englishman's books, but finds them dense. Instead, he starts observing the desert, the camels, the silence.
he learns from his own camel, its endurance, its rhythm. He eventually puts his own book away, finding more wisdom in just watching the caravan and listening to the desert wind.
He's learning directly from the world again. He also talks to the camel driver.
And learns some profound things there, too. The camel driver talks about how the desert makes you feel small, humble.
But also teaches you not to fear the unknown if they're capable of achieving what they need and want. Trusting the journey.
And the camel driver introduces that key word, maktab.
It is written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sense that everything is interconnected, part of a larger plan. Our life stories and the history of the world were written by the same hand.
Which connects nicely to what the Englishman explains about the soul of the world.
Right. The Englishman says, when you want something with all your heart, that's when you are closest to the soul of the world. It's always a positive force. And he suggests that everything has a soul. Minerals, plants, animals, thoughts.
Everything is alive, interconnected. So the big question arises, how do we tap into that? How do we get closer to the soul of the world?
The book suggests it's through pursuing your personal legend, through listening to your heart, through observing the omens. It's less about a formula, more about alignment and attention.
While they're having these philosophical discussions, the real world intrudes, doesn't it? The threat of tribal wars in the desert increases.
Yeah, the journey becomes more dangerous. They travel faster, often in silence, with more lookouts. The tension ramps up. Your personal legend doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Finally, after this long, tense journey, the caravan reaches the Al-Fayoum oasis. And it's huge, right? Like a small city.
Much larger than many towns back in Spain, Santiago observes. It's a safe haven, but also where the next major phase of his journey begins.
Because this is where he meets Fatima.
At the well, it's one of the most famous scenes. He sees her, and it's instant love at first sight.
He recognizes it immediately as the pure language of the world. Something that needs no explanation, just a feeling, a knowing.
And Fatima is incredible. She's not an obstacle to his dream. She understands it instinctively.
What does she tell him?
She encourages him to go on to the pyramids. She says, if I am really a part of your dream, you'll come back one day. And crucially, love never keeps a man from pursuing his personal legend.
That's such a powerful and quite modern idea, isn't it? Love is support, not possession.
Absolutely. It frees him, in a way. But then another major event happens at the oasis. Santiago sees an omen.
A vision, right,
Yeah.
while watching hawks flying.
Yes. He sees a vision of an army attacking the oasis, which is supposed to be neutral territory. He understands this is an omen from the soul of the world.
And he doesn't just ignore it. He finds the courage to tell the tribal chieftains.
Which is a huge risk. He's an outsider. But he draws on the story of Joseph in Egypt interpreting dreams and convinces them.
And his vision proves true. They prepare, fend off the attack, And Santiago was hailed as a hero, even earning 50 gold pieces. His connection to the soul of the world is validated powerfully.
And this act, this bravery and connection to the omens is what brings him face to face with the alchemist.
The man the Englishman was searching for.
The very same. The alchemist appears dramatically on horseback with a falcon on his shoulder. His presence is intense, much more powerful than that of a mere messenger.
And the alchemist knows Santiago is the one he's been waiting for, the one he needs to guide.
Exactly. He tests Santiago, confirms his courage, and then he presents him with the ultimate choice.
Stay or go.
Right. Stay here in the oasis. You have Fatima's love, you have wealth, respect. You could have a good life here. Or
continue the journey, risk everything for the treasure at the pyramids, for the personal legend.
the alchemist paints a vivid picture of what happens if he stays but abandons his legend. Years of comfort, maybe, but eventually regret, bitterness, knowing he didn't fulfill his purpose. The omens would stop. Fatima might even resent him subconsciously for giving up his dream for her.
It's a stark warning about the cost of settling, even for seemingly good reasons.
And the alchemist gives him perhaps the most crucial piece of advice in the entire book. Listen to your heart.
Even when it's afraid.
Especially when it's afraid. The alchemist says the heart can be treasonous, filled with fear and doubt, but you have to listen anyway.
And he says something profound about fear.
Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity.
Wow. So the journey itself, the search, is where the connection to the divine, to eternity happens, not just the destination.
That's the core of it. Embrace the journey, fear and all, because that's where life truly unfolds.
And Santiago's fear, his connection, his courage, it's immediately put to the most extreme test imaginable.
Right. They leave the oasis, journeying with the alchemist, but get captured by a warring tribe.
And the alchemist tells the tribal leader that Santiago is an alchemist who can turn himself into the wind, and that he needs 3 days to do it, or they'll offer their lives.
Talk about pressure. Santiago has no idea how to do this. He has to literally converse with the elements.
He speaks to the desert, then the wind, then the sun, asking for their help.
Each tells him they can't do it alone, pushing him higher, deeper into connection. Finally, he has to speak to the hand that wrote all.
The soul of the world itself.
Yep.
He has to tap into that ultimate source.
And in that moment of connection, understanding love as the driving force, the wind kicks up, a huge sandstorm, the sirocco engulfs the camp, and Santiago appears on the other side.
He becomes the wind, in a way, or at least commands it through his connection. It terrifies the tribesmen.
And solidifies for Santiago that incredible truth. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. His internal transformation literally changed the weather, changed the situation.
It's the ultimate proof of the universe conspiring. So they're allowed to leave. Their journey continues towards the pyramids.
But before they part, the alchemist performs one more crucial act. They stop at a Coptic monastery.
And he demonstrates the masterwork.
Exactly. He uses a sliver of the philosopher's stone to turn lead into gold. He divides the gold, one part for the monk for his hospitality, one for Santiago, one for himself, and one left with the monk for Santiago, just in case.
Insurance against future loss.
Mm.
But he stresses something important, doesn't he?
Well, yes. He makes it clear. Alchemy, turning lead into gold, was his personal legend, not Santiago's. He just wanted to show the boy that it was possible, to inspire him.
A final lesson in possibility. And he shares a proverb.
Right before leaving Santiago. Everything that happens once can never happen again. But everything that happens twice will surely happen a third time.
What do you make of that? A warning about repeating mistakes?
Yeah.
Or a promise of patterns?
Could be both. Pay attention to patterns. If something challenging happens twice, be prepared, learn the lesson, because it might come again until you do. He gives Santiago his piece of gold.
And tells him one final story about a Roman centurion.
Yes, the Roman father with 2 sons, one a poet, one a soldier. The father dreams one son's words will be remembered forever. He assumes it's the poet.
But an angel reveals it's the soldier.
The centurion whose humble words to Jesus, "My Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only speak a word and my servant will be healed," become part of prayer for generations.
And the point is,
no matter what he does, every person on earth plays a central role in the history of the world, and normally he doesn't know it. Our impact is often hidden, even from ourselves.
that's incredibly humbling. So Santiago is finally alone, riding towards the pyramids. How does he know where to look?
His heart guides him. It tells him, Be aware of the place where you are brought to tears. That's where I am, and that's where your treasure is. Follow your deepest feelings.
He reaches the dunes, sees the pyramids. It's majestic. And he starts digging where his heart leads him, where tears fall.
He digs all night, full of hope and exhaustion, and finds nothing.
Nothing after all that.
Nothing. And then, to add insult to injury, some refugees from the tribal wars find him, beat him, and steal the piece of gold the alchemist gave him.
Oh, man. Rock bottom again.
But as they're leaving, Santiago, half-conscious, mentions his dream about treasure at the pyramids.
Oh.
And the leader of the robbers scoffs.
What does he say?
He says he's not stupid enough to cross a desert because of a recurring dream. Then he tells Santiago his recurring dream. A dream about a treasure buried in Spain under a sycamore tree growing in the ruins of an old church where shepherds and their sheep often slept.
Wait a minute. That's
exactly where Santiago started his journey, where he had his first dream. The treasure wasn't at the pyramids at all.
So it was back home the whole time. Wow, that's the twist.
The ultimate twist. The entire journey across the world was necessary not to find the treasure there, but to learn how to find it back home.
So the journey was the treasure, in a way. The transformation, the learning, the connection, that's what enabled him to finally understand where the gold really was.
Precisely. It wasn't about the destination. It was about becoming the person who could recognize the treasure that was always waiting.
So Santiago makes his way back to Spain, back to that ruined church with the sycamore tree.
He digs at the root of the tree, remembering the robber's dream, and this time
He finds it. A chest overflowing with ancient Spanish gold coins, precious stones, golden masks. Unbelievable wealth.
the physical treasure was real. But he also takes out Urim and Thummim, the stones from Melchizedek, and puts them in the chest too.
Acknowledging them as part of his new treasure, the tools of his journey.
Right. And he remembers the gypsy woman, smiles and thinks, life really is generous to those who pursue their personal legend. He owes her 1/10.
It comes full circle. It reminds me of that other prologue piece, The Warrior of the Light bit you mentioned earlier.
Yes. The boy trying to hear the submerged temple bells. He tries so hard, focuses intensely, but hears nothing.
Until he stops trying, right?
Yeah.
And just listens to the sounds around him, the sea, the gulls.
And then he hears the bells. Sometimes the answer comes when you relax the effort, when you stop forcing it and just become present.
Yeah.
When you listen to that language without words.
So Santiago finds the gold. He's completed the quest. But the book doesn't end just there, does it?
No, there's a final beautiful touch. As he stands there with the treasure, the wind starts to blow the levanter, the wind from Africa.
It brings
The scent of Fatima's perfume. And he feels the touch of a kiss. He looks towards the horizon and says simply, I'm coming, Fatima.
So the end isn't just wealth, it's returning to love, transformed. The journey equipped him not just to find the gold, but to fully embrace the life and love waiting for him. He found himself, and now he can return.
It's a perfect ending. So the final thought maybe is, how often do we look for our treasure, happiness, success, meaning somewhere out there, in a different job, a different city, a future achievement?
When, maybe, just maybe.
The real work is internal. And perhaps the greatest treasures are waiting right where we are, hidden beneath the surface, discoverable only after we've undertaken our own journey of self-discovery. What treasures might be waiting right where you are if you just looked differently or perhaps listened?